It's only entertainment.
Welcome back to The Talking Hedge. I'm Josh Kincaid, Capital Markets Analyst and host of your Cannabis Business Podcast. We were just talking about meeting up in Seattle back in 2019, talking about what was going to happen in 2020, and CBD was kind of one of the things that we were chatting about at that party for Dope Magazine back in the day, a half decade ago, right?
I think we nailed it, dude. I mean, there's been a booming for wellness type shit, since then, right? Like, and again, this whole thing is semantical. It's about how you talk about it, right? Because then you're going to have this other side coming out, you going, well, it's not medicine, it's not FDA approved, but, there was this patent that happened years ago, 6630507, and then the government owned it, and then it confirms all this other shit. But yeah, man, and then you were showing your little series predictions as far as since the 5 years, because I think it shows a really interesting trend,
Yeah, absolutely. So everyone in 2019 thought that we were going to have price and profit, and then everyone's state was going to legalize. People were talking about consumption lounges were going to be a thing. Vapegate was on everybody's mind, cannabinoids and CBD, what we just talked about. Because I think even then, that's when they found THCV was in January of 2020. So they were still finding cannabinoids.
Oh yeah.
But no one cares about medical. So what this is actually is an aggregate of everyone in the industry and what they thought was going to happen. So basically this is 274 data points across 28 cannabis publications and compiled into 16 categories this year for 2024. But initially there was only a few categories because it was very simple. Right. And then you move into 2022 and all of a sudden there's this random or miscellaneous category. And it went from the 10th largest category of we don't really know what the hell is going to happen to the third. And now it's the second largest category. Like, we really don't know what the hell is going to happen. We know that federal rescheduling and or additional states, like, that's been number one since 2021.
Yeah.
Consolidation or M&A is up there, but now there's so many different opinions and stuff that no one really knows. When you ask them, they all have their own opinion because they're in their own bubble. And I realize
exactly
that from Biz Con is everyone's in their own bubble and they don't really know. But I do kind of want to talk about cannabis crystal ball predictions. But having said that, man, when you were at BizCon, what did you think of that? Because I get a crystal ball prediction of the industry and kind of gauge how it's going to go. And I'm basically saying this industry's fucked because everyone has ego and they're like, they're like, they're telling you different things. And I think they're out of their mind and they're going to fall through the same cracks and issues we had from 10 years ago.
But if you look at it a whole, because I know it's so funny, dude. MJ Biz like opened my eyes to a lot of like business type shit that is already out there, like the icky side of shit, right? People with fuck you money, and like some of it, people who are interested and wanting to invest, and so they see this actually opportunity, and there are other people who just don't give a fuck, and they just like. They want it now. They want like something that's going to be a quick turn. It's not that way, especially with this product. But unless you get involved with an already existing brand, like being someone who's about to has a license per se, right? Like I got this, what I can now consider my real asset, right? Like I've always liked money, and that's why I used to deal, like I wasn't dealing so I could be a caregiver. I mean, like, honestly, I know it's medicine and I know it helps people. But even when I was 18 to 20, that's when I helped get signature of Prop 215. I knew this plant that I was hustling was like not going to kill anybody. Like I drew a line. Like I sold psychedelics and I sold weed as much as I could, but I'd never touched like cocaine and heroin. Like I was never going to be that guy that got involved. Because it's funny when people talk about like the trap. Right, or trap houses. There's a line that people are really going to cross for money. You know what I mean? Like to exist. And when I used to sell, there was a point where I was paying rent, even with a part-time job, and had excess cash. But I just want the next level. I want to, you see other like real businessmen. Not talking about Trump, whose daddy gave him some money. He actually lost billions of dollars. Just like, I don't know how the fuck you do that. Or Elon Musk, who was given money and then just well invested. But like people who actually like no shit started something. Because you have to know, like, retail, essentially, what it comes down to, like, we treat this product, we talk about big pharma and all this other shit, and it's still retail in the end. And that's like one of the things I always wondered about you was like, how did you make money? Because that's why we wondered, like in this game, especially in Washington when it was medical, I was always like just watching. Like, I want my chance, but I also don't want to go to jail. I also don't want to be subjugated to any bullshit, right? Like the whole point of just legalizing is to be above board and to go on. But in any industry, so I work in tech, and as a technician, the business side of things, like, one of the things that you learn and you don't like, but then later on you start to understand is, like, say if my salary is $100,000, my purpose, besides fucking doing a real technician job, is to pull in $500,000 for my employer. Because like that was their bottom line. They looked at your value as being, you had to pull in 5 times more, and then you're like, that's fucked up. But you're also paying for the sales guy, the gas when you go to your thing, the marketing team. There's like layers to, like, if you're going to be a bigger business versus like a mom and pop like corner store, which would be cool too. Like, I just want to own a 7-Eleven. When I get this money, I'll take it and reinvest into shit that I can, opposed to being obligated to this 9-to-5 thing that I've worked out pretty well in my personal life. Like, I've seen it, I've done it, and I've seen a lot of bad shit because I worked for some of the people who are bad when it comes to like quality assurance, because that's what I do. And now I'm working for the best. Like I work for one of the oldest like measurement companies out there. And there's a certain integrity when it comes to like actually like doing a job and giving it to a person. Say, I've done everything that I'm legally and morally obligated to do, opposed to like, hey, we're going to slap out 10 of these, throw a little sticker on it. But you know what? If we do 20 of these tomorrow, we make more money. Real quality doesn't work that way, right? Just like growing. You're kind of like at the end of the day, when you're done with the product of growing, it's like, the quality is what it is when you smoke it, opposed to like, you're going to have the best fucking weed every time, because people fuck up. People fucking overwater, underwater. I mean, there's that delicate balance that, like, that's why you have to be there and be knowledgeable in that process, right? Because everybody thinks like, weed's legal, I want to be a grower. Fucking growers get fucked.
Regardless of what it is, people think that you can just get in and make money no matter what.
Yeah.
But So I want to get your take on this. Somebody posted on LinkedIn as a response to some of the doom and gloom in the cannabis industry. So this guy said that the industry is good or bad as you believe it. So look, I'm not saying that people haven't been going through extremely challenging times, but for everyone that believed it was doom and gloom, I found people that had an optimistic outlook. What was the main difference between the two outlooks? The doom and gloomers looked at a challenge as a problem. The optimistic folks looked at each challenge as a gift to expand their knowledge and skill set. Challenges are unavoidable. How you perceive the challenges is 1,000,000% your choice. So I think a lot of that is hippie.
Yeah.
Is hippie talk, because so when you look at an individual grower or an individual manufacturer of a product, or a retailer, or someone who's vertically integrated doing all three, there is going to be challenging times, and you need to figure that out because people are succeeding. That is true.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But I think if you take a step back and look at the industry from a 30,000-foot view and look at, I've been going to MJ Biz Con 8 years in a row and seeing the differences in what's going on as the industry as a whole over the last 10 years, I think that we're in a spot where we're probably going to move sideways for 5 years. Unfortunately, it might even be 10, depending on how long it takes people, in the new emerging markets in the East Coast to figure it out, because they're hell bent on making the same mistakes we've been making for 10 years.
Well, I mean, like, yeah, no. I mean, as far as like, because I think from your perspective, because that was one of the things I learned at MJ Biz, because I learned so many fucking fingers and aspects. Like, I've always known about the auxiliary side of things. Like I was gonna say, it was like at MJ Biz, I met the guy who makes the flicker, right? And this guy with his hot little girlfriend ran around MJ Biz. I mean, first off, he's got a good product, but that does not guarantee like prosperity, right? You got to get in the right eyeballs, the right whatever. Homeboy was smart enough to he was hanging out with the MITA group. So, I mean, again, another association, people, strength in numbers. But he also got in front of Burner. And then he had a contract because of MJ Biz with Burner. I mean, and again, I don't know the semantics. I just know Burner posted a thing. So, either for one, whether he gave Burner cost for this, the publicity to get your lighter out there is like the next Toker Poker. I love my Toker Poker, dude, until I lost it. And I was like negative. I was like, fuck that. I'm never going to get a Toker Poker. That thing's so bulky. But then I got one for free from, I don't know if you know Justin Cohen from, he does these on and off media things. He actually inspired me onto pursue media per se as a real business could be possibility, right? This is another aspect of cannabis where you get the influencers or you are the influencer, whatever, but everybody has this, right? Whether it be cigars. I'm sure if you're a cigar smoker, there's that one cigar smokers that everybody knows, or culture, right? Because cannabis really got shooken up with regulation because we had culture here in Washington State when it was no tax-free because it was under the radar. It was medical. So you were helping legit people, but also at the time being medical, it forces the growers and it forces people to have good taste, good quality, good weed because of just proper processing, purging. You have no shit people. And that's what you're saying. When you're talking about the rule about fucking testing, right? This is a consumable plant. And who was drinking or snorting cocaine when they're like, you know what? Recreational, we got medical. How are we gonna make the difference? Oh, I know. We'll fucking just test them differently. That'll fucking mix it up there. And then it just adds to the fucking stigma and the whole thing about this plant that makes it obscure to people. Hey, this medicine and a Good Friday night can also be a t-shirt. The emperor wears no clothing. This is why Jack Hare, I think, made good noise. And the thing is, though, we're past that little gray area where all these people were being scoffed at and mocked by pretty much society for oh man, if this one thing could do a thing, then why wouldn't it be legal? But even though George W. Bush Sr.'s fucking parachute when he was fucking bombing Germany or jumping into the things was made from hemp, the ropes and shit. So there, and then the fucking when Jack Hare fucking sued to get the hemp hooray, fucking he had to find this thing that people were denying existed that the government supported, like corn. It's just a fucking another commodity. But I think you froze. Oh, no, you're good.
No, I'm just good at holding still. But, there hasn't been a lot of innovation at all in the industry. There's this one lighter here talking about Toker Pokers.
Yeah.
First, real innovation I've seen in a while is this lighter that's a one hitter.
That's pretty dope.
But speaking of lack of innovation, here's a Rose Papers. That won a best innovation award, whatever. Pretty.
But it's been around, right? Super
lame. What I'm looking forward to though is lockers. Something simple like an Amazon locker I'd give that damn thing an award all the time to avoid a line. Even if you order online, you still have a line.
Yeah. But see, that's the thing right there. That's the new technology, right? These different angles that we have to look at because there's a sociological fucking term for not sometimes your idea is not so original, right? The debate for the light bulb. We all say Thomas Edison made the light bulb, but thing is, there were multiple patents because multiple people were trying to work on this concept with this technologies that were available at the time. I was thinking I've had we're both entrepreneurish type people who just want to create and do things. And I'm like, man, what'd be awesome would be a Swiss Army knife for fucking weed, like my Toker Poker, right? Because I'm constantly looking. So I carry around this fucking paperclip. Like that's my thing because it's long enough and it's small enough to penetrate holes and shit. And of course you do the old school fucking light and then so you can burn through all the resin through there sometimes. Well, my son got me this for Christmas. It's a fucking Swiss Army knife fucking lighter. It has fucking scissors on one side, fucking a nice little knife in case like it's like sticky icky. And then now the only thing is that it comes with the poker, but it's still too thick for my pipe. I got a tiny little fucker, but I mean, this is still my fucking gonna be my next go-to next to the little flicker fucker. But like, I lost my toka poker, but I'm not going to go out and buy another $20 just because I'm an old head and I get across some shit free all the time. So it's like I get to wait. But like, if you were going to be someone like general public, Joe Schmo, like who's going to smoke like every other day, or every day like me, I'd say go get a toka poker or whatever. But innovation, like you said, that lockers, that's going to be a cool fucking. If I could do that, because Washington's been so behind on. We don't even have delivery, dude.
Mm-hmm. Ping one, it's an illegal delivery, but new product innovation didn't even come out or people didn't predict any new product innovations until 2022. Like it took that long for that to even jump on board. But you can kind of see that small business over MSOs also jumped on board, and then banking that year. And we talked about the randomness. And then last year, more people were worried about consolidation, pricing decreasing rather than an increase in price, which was exactly what happened. Branding is important. And I think, cookies is a perfect example of a really kind of terrible product that does really good branding and gets people in there.
Well, Supreme. I mean, like that's a thing. Marketing, right? Like, I was in a mall's Christmas shopping last week, and I saw one of those like fucking like Hot Topic-ish, but like on the not the edgy side, but like on the hipster surfer kid side, and it said official cookies fucking retailer, and it's like it's fucking as much as they bitch about like the laws when it comes to like runts being like or gummies being shaped and attracting kids. Well, the real market's fucking clothing lines, right? Like fucking dab stars, right? When Jonah Tacoma was young and better looking, I mean, he's still an older suave guy, but like, let's face it, we were all younger and more fuckable at one time, right? And then at that case, he was building this little thing. I met him when he was selling t-shirts, dude. Like he had a stand at High Times Cup when I was doing prisoner booths. Like he was always supportive of his shit, but I'm just like, well, I don't know if selling t-shirts is a thing, but like he fucking proved like you do a thing and then you work off that brand or whatever it is, you expand off it. Now, as far as technologies goes, that's always been a thing. But I think when people talk about the word technologies, they think too hard about like whether it be new software or some sort of new cool tool, or it could be something easy as a fucking lighter, right? Like there's things that we do and like. So yeah, no, I think it's hard to say what's going to be a good deal. At least with weed, especially when people keep fucking or the laws keep changing. We're not going to get a new type of weed pop out all the more that's more amazing than. I mean, I don't know about you. Once I do smoke occasionally, like I'll get a hit and a whiff, and I'll be like, man, I like that smell. But like, I just don't really think about like that brand or that thing that's so consistent.
That's actually one of my predictions is that we're going to have more stability because, you don't have the blue dreams. Everyone is so worried about having like the next thing, and everyone has the new. And I think you're going to finally find people who want consistency rather than trying to find, is this the same as that? And because that's just kind of annoying. Me.
Well,
I'm sure it's annoying for a lot of people, but the reason that we don't see a lot of the new product innovation is because of the lack of investing, and people actually knew that. Even at the end of 2022, people were expecting that 2023 there was going to be a lack of investing, and yet I still ran into some guys in New York who were like, "Oh, investing is going to be." Literally, they're on a panel. One's from New York, one's from Illinois, and one's from somewhere else, and
because you're okay. Sorry.
I was going to say they think that investing is going to be the new thing for 2023 or 2024, and that's their crystal ball prediction. But we've known since 2023 that the investors are on the sidelines.
Well, in your past 2 years before that, you have investing on there, period. And I think though, when we talk, because in general, you know better than I do. I mean, you are, like I said, the finance guy. Like you're kind of like me in the sense that we try to connect people. Like you've been doing this, like when you had, and then sometimes, and again, technology, the word technology, like sometimes you have a concept that's ahead of its fucking time, right? Like you need more markets or broader general. Like your Seattle Chronix brand during Seattle time was a solid brand, dude. I mean, it had a beautiful logo and all the other shit that like should be a winner, right? And then like, you know, it takes a lot of energy and shit to keep doing the same thing over and over, trying to push and all that stuff. So like you were ahead of your time. Or even talking about pre-roll machines, like your focus on technology is very like for someone on a third person perspective, they go, oh man, I see this guy's talking. There's a way to make money at this shit, a way to like get invested in a certain way. And so like you've done that. And I think that is so cool that, but like for me, when I connect people, it's mostly like, hey, I know a guy that knows a guy. You guys need each other, right? Like I just like the friendship shit and the free weed sometimes. But like for the most part, I'm just trying to connect people so I can like, you know, be a winner myself. Like like with this license thing, dude. Like, so when you say investors though, like what are you looking at? Because like, are you talking about like the Curaleaf, big MSOs? Because again, at the MJ Biz Con, there is that fuck you money involved in all this shit, right? Like you just got to have a way to pull it out to your way. You know, is that what you're looking at when you're talking about investors? Like what metric is the thing that says less people are investing in weed, I guess?
So it's coming from a couple of different ways. It's not really looking at retail investors buying into pot stocks online. It's really taking a look at, because a lot of those MSOs will try to get money from whales, you know.
Yeah.
And so they do private placements. So these private placements are no longer really a thing. Yeah. So when Warren Buffett gets a really, really good deal, that's a private placement. And so he always makes insider deals. He's the genius of insider trading.
Right,
So
right.
he doesn't time it. Like they just come to him and say, hey, I have a phenomenal deal I'm going to make. And so he's able to look at information that you and I and no one else has access to.
Oh, sure.
And so that's what
also paying attention. Like I was saying on the finance side of things, like the fact that you use the word whales, like I've just been getting involved in watching like the origins of Uber, you know, that guy and how he created that. Like again, the word technology. This guy didn't create new fucking tech. He just figured out like, hey, we can connect people this way, and then like, you know, had someone else do the tech, right? Or found a guy that does the tech because he had a concept. And that's all this new up and coming, I think, with the investor thing. And that's what I'm looking forward to have more opinion on, because I really try not to have too much opinion that I don't have experience in. You know what I mean? Like I don't, I try to just come from the consumer side when it comes to cannabis for the most part. And I can definitely speak to things when it comes to like what should be or what's a fair price and all this stuff. Now, as I get an understanding, and the other hard part of that thing though is it's individual to every fucking state, right? Like till there's this federal thing, you're gonna have to like trust 50 different fucking people, or you know, to manage whatever thing you create in each place. And
an analyst is going to be able to see a different trends and anomalies though, because a lot of those states have very similar things that happen to them. Like the whole thing with the price compression that happens in every state when you start with a really high price because there's no inventory and then it crashes, like that's predictable, right? That's, you just know that's going to happen.
Sure.
So they should be able to have somebody that can kind of tell them that's going to happen eventually, but a lot of these people just find out the hard way.
Well, and that's because I think like MedMen, like what a shitty fucking investment that was. Like you know, a lot of these guys too, like again, that whale money, you know, that's that fuck you money. That's that.
It's also FOMO though, because people assume that someone else. This is what I've seen. So investors are either angel investors that come in early and they're just rich from, you know, real estate or whatever. That's a lot of the people that started the wine industry in Washington State, which is the second largest exporter of wine behind California's Sonoma Valley. Those are all Microsoft employees that retired and like, I'm going to grow some grapes. And so that's kind of what you have is you have people who sold out from Canopy Growth and Aurora, and those are the early like millionaires, you know, in the cannabis industry who restarted some shit. Some of that was snake oil and it didn't work out, but they created their own. Some people created their own cannabis fund and these private equity funds are pooled together, and then they use that money to make some leverage on bigger investors. So,
well, like the arc views, you know, like I think it was Steve D'Angelo. We had him on our pod, and he was, I believe he was like, yeah, you can call me guilty for being the one that brought in the MSOs or whatever, but I really don't think. I think people with money are going to do a thing no matter what. I just think it's a matter of. I never saw like full on corporate like investment like the Crescos or the True Leaves, like being so huge with the board and all that shit. I never thought like that kind of money to be involved in running a cannabis business. But in the end, for business rather, that's the end goal, right? Like you want to create this thing that you walk away from, and it has all the assets. You know, talking to one of potential investors, this guy showed me his numbers, and he owns multiple stores, and he's pulling in $5 million a month after overhead, right? Like that's his personal, like what he's going to invest in me is what he makes in a fucking month, and that's half of what he makes in a month. He's just like, oh, here you go, I'll give you a chance. But I also recognize that like I don't have the experience to like, as a technician, I'm a technician, dude. I can tell you how to fucking run a manufacturing plant. I cannot tell you how to run a store, like with the the marketing and the point of sales and then the other retail business shit that happens involved. No, I'm on a floor guy. I need to like be the turning wrenches, and I can help you organize that ballet. But when it comes to the financial running a business side, that's another reason why I'm going business with somebody that's. I mean, I don't have $2 million in pocket, dude, and that's what eventually is going to be a cost to just start. Right, we got to buy the property because that's the game. You got because we saw in Washington how many people were fucked with because the landlord got a fucking email or from the government or from their bank, because like people can be threatened and fucked with if you don't fucking own the space. So I own the license. Somebody else is going to have to own the property. But with that, I also need to help like running this business, like running a store. I know how to shop. I don't know how to fucking mark up besides being the old school fucking seller. Right. And that's another thing I've been thinking about because the taxes are definitely unfair and fucked up. Right. And one of the fucking things we talk about for cannabis advocates or people that say, like, what is it? Taxation is death bullshit. Right. Like part of it's true. But the other part is like when I was selling enough to buy my own weed. So there was still a markup. Right. And then if I got it from another guy, I'm pretty sure he marked it up too. I wasn't getting I felt like I was getting the good buddy thing. And that's the other thing about like back in the day with like the legacy market per se is you're constantly on point and being full of shit, trying to understand what a retail market is, whereas the consumer is everybody. I sold to college professors. I sold to the wife of a fireman. There was like various people I score weed for. And that's the market. And now it's nothing that anybody's going to be ashamed of. They can fucking go to a fucking store and go get it,
That's why the number one prediction over the last several years has been additional states because no one gives a shit. There's literally no pushback anymore. So if there's no if all you see is money, if they're seeing how much money that Texas is missing out and all the border states are making, then eventually they'd be like, we're just going to do it because everybody else is. That they may wait a little bit. Mm-hmm. So for 2024 crystal ball predictions, most people in the industry are anticipating that there's going to be some kind of federal rescheduling, like a Schedule 3, or that additional states come on board. My take on that is it's going to destroy the industry because Big Pharma will come in. It'll be the gateway for Big Pharma to put in all of their restrictions. They'll have ISO GMP requirements. We started with over 1,000 growers. We have about 100 and only 3 dozen haven't been popped for a regulatory violation. So if you can't even handle a state regulation, there's no way you're going to handle federal. So I think I think it's just a Trojan horse to screw the entire industry over, and like 97.5% will just get wiped out.
But the bad part of thinking that like the gloom and doom of the federal regulation, the GMP, Big Pharma is fucking scary, just like Big Walmart and all this other shit. Especially someone like I'm about to have a store. So it's like, how is this going to affect me? And I think once that descheduling happens, and let's say there is a big weird ass fucking corporate sweep with Big Pharma, right? Maybe this might be a thing that would get more people involved for this cause, as far as an understanding of like business goes. Because I mean, like most people are just ignorant to the cannabis conversation when it comes to like product or how bad people who are in the business are being treated. If they reschedule it and say some dude in Kentucky smoking a weed like that recent in I think it was North Carolina, South Carolina, a young black couple were smoking their hemp, their THCA at the bus stop and got harassed, right? Like, will this still be a thing once it's descheduled? Because now what's a cop going to fucking come at you with? Like, where's your prescription? Like, and even then, it still has to be a written law at that point, wouldn't it be? Like,
well, I think that's why number one is everyone anticipates additional states coming on board. With everyone expecting additional states to come on board and maybe rescheduling. Number two, though, is that really nobody knows. Like, there's all of these different things because everyone's in their own little bubble. But I think what we can agree on is that we're going to see a lot less companies that are out there. We'll see some consolidation eventually. Still price instability, and then lounges. Did you ever go to a lounge when you were in Vegas?
No, I tried to. First, I bought some weed that was booty, but that was my experiment in Vegas as far as like the weed shit. I had it marked in my calendar, but holy crap! And again, I was in Vegas for 5 days. MJ Biz was 4, right? It was started on a Tuesday, I believe. I got there on a Monday. Enjoyed my 1 day of quietness because I was the only one at the Airbnb. But like the size of that money that was involved in the, like, and again, like you were saying, how it's each one little fiefdom. But yeah, and I see maybe when I go on business with somebody, it's gonna be with somebody who's in already another state. Like no matter what it is, to have that kind of money, I don't really foresee my personal will saying, you know what, I like the jib of this guy. All of a sudden I want to give you $2 million and I'm gonna give you a team, right? Because that's the other thing. You need a team for like a good business, to be a real well-oiled machine. I mean, at least that's what I've seen in my side of like working in tech, and then even in the military. I keep thinking about this license thing. In Illinois will just get off their ass and give me a chance. Like we talk about social equity, I'm not having any equity right now. But like when that happens, then I got this carrot that not only I already have people talking to me, but there's gonna be new conversations because now I have the actual fucking thing, right? Like I appreciate everybody reaching out and speculating. Like it's cool. Like I get a little taking to dinner, but like, fuck, let's just do this. Like, just, and I already have some partners who possibly might be good, but I don't know yet because I don't have the fucking license. So yeah, the individuality of each state, I think we got to watch out for Ohio and, Delaware's kind of on board now. And I forget who else like this year knocked out, but there are new states, which means there's going to be new money and not just like fucking products, but tourism, attitudes,
That's going to be very isolated, though. There's going to be a lack of investing, but in certain areas there will. But it's very, very isolated because most of those states like Ohio and Illinois are limited license states, and that's where the money likes to come in. But there is a sense that there's going to be more of an emphasis on small business over MSOs. We talked about MedMen, and Florida is just filled with MSOs. They love Florida. MSOs love Florida. But I think what people really want is that local funk that they're not able to find. Maybe that's the terps, the terpene profiles are in there. They're finding additional cannabinoids. And that also encompasses, I think, maybe some of that educational component, but not really. Still, bud tenders have no idea why the edibles I order have CBN, CBG, CBD, and THC. And I tell them, and I'm like selling it to the bud tenders. They're like, oh, I had no idea.
But I think a lot of the education though is not just on the bud tenders, but to the general population, right? Like, like the person I was talking, who's pulling in $5 million a month, right? He's a self-entrepreneur. It's not True Leaf. It's not Cresco. And honestly, I believe there are more people like this guy who own multiple facets in cannabis. Like some people just don't advertise.
But don't you
And
think that's more about what it is the branding, marketing, advertising? Because like we mentioned, MedMen and like Tilray is absolute trash. Like the only reason they have huge marketing budgets. I think even cookies, like I smoked a blunt for cookies and like damn near died. It was terrible. So that's all branding. I think I've tried Stizzies and I'm like, what are these smoking in this? This is marketing. Like the kids love those blinkers and whatever. Like that's great. But like I have no idea why they keep going back after trying it once.
I got a guy, cousin, that got a shipment of pens and flour. And being a good cousin who wants to help an inspiring entrepreneur, I got this nice little pre-packaging, like seems legit, but there's the barcode goes straight to their Instagram. There's no COA or nothing, right? $75 I paid for this and a quarter. And then the next day I went to a local pot shop and I paid $65 for a quarter and like a gram of dabs for my kids. So like I don't dab.
Hey, compare
I'll do
that to how much you spend at home so the people know the difference.
What I paid the next day, 65 versus 75. I paid 75 for this and the flour.
Yeah.
Next day I went to a wash and pot shop, paid 65 for another quarter, which wasn't horrible. I mean, it wasn't like slapping like a certain brands. I mean, and that's the thing about washing too, is you kind of pay for what you get 90% of the time. I mean, like unfortunately for those higher end like brands, they do come through. I mean, if they still stay strong with that price, like the only ones I can really think of like that right now are like Mad Mark. Like he says, every time I buy his weed, if I get a little like frugal, it always hits good and hits really good, right? Like that's just quality of the plant itself versus like my McDonald's weed that I have now. Pretty much like it's a good cheeseburger. I like this
So
taste.
my everyday is $36 for an ounce on sale. It's always 30% off.
Damn.
Every single day it's 30% off. I don't know why, but
and it's good.
It's tolerable. Yeah.
Okay.
So I decided to splurge. I got some K Savage. I got three different kinds from K Savage, one of the better ones in Washington.
Yeah.
And at $300 an ounce, I just don't know if it's worth spending 10 times more of that. For the other one, I'm smoking side by side. I'm like, I like it. I just don't, for the value, it's not there.
Yeah, and that's it. And I mean, like, we're doing it for different reasons. But there are legit people who this is the unfortunate side of like medicine, right? Because that really good expensive weed is just fucking medicine, right?
Well, yeah, that's why I stick to sativas all day long so that I can still work and function and communicate and stuff. Because I still have to work, but I'm like, pretty much in physical pain from the time I wake up to the time I go to bed. But a lot of these, the blue dream of 2015 or whatever, that cannabinoid profile is what I'm always trying to search for and can never find.
There was always good quality back then. Like when it was medical and these guys had to actually compete, and that's going to be, I think in the end, like for the future, that's what's going to suffer if we keep having these like limited markets will be like the variety, the strains, right? Like it can be like its own potato famine, in a sense.
So do you think that banking is going to bring in some of those guys who've been stuck in the black market and prop up the demand that's somewhat been lacking? There's been no international expansion that Canada was anticipating. Vapegate's dead. No one really talks about CBD anymore or educational components.
Yeah.
But everyone's anticipating that banking is going to be the thing, and maybe that'll fund some new product innovations and cannabinoid research and development and product innovation. But my thoughts on banking is that it's not really going to do anything because banking is already available. What we need is cross-border disruption, because that's going to really show how funky or how shitty A lot of states are, like I said, 97.5% trash out there that shouldn't even
Yeah.
really be in the market. And the only way they're going to know is by having people from other states. And the best, initially 5 to 6 companies, and then it'll be down to 3 to 4. And unfortunately, eventually 1 or 2 and then 0. You'll have it'll be less and less and less as time goes on in consolidation. If you look at any other industry, it's fairly similar to that.
Sure.
And I think cross-border will be a lot more disruptive than banking, but maybe banking will come first. What's your thoughts?
Well, don't you think that would go hand in hand with rescheduling? Like if it rescheduled, like banking would definitely like turn about, right? Like that would be like now it's because like in credit cards, there's there's a check mark, right? That they're missing. Like there's a reason why. I think somebody tried to do like a Bitcoin thing or something, or they were selling it to German markets or whatever, but they were like going through, not checking it off as like they were trying to say it was something else. And wouldn't like descheduling it, turning it into like a check? Wouldn't there be a pharmaceutical, because I can buy Viagra or whatever I want with a credit card.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit harder. I think you have to qualify as a pharmacist. Now, I have no idea. This is my guess. I think you're going to have to qualify as a pharmacist if you're a retailer, and then there are going to be additional regulations because no Schedule 3 is sold out of a trunk or retail shop. They're all sold through a pharmacy.
Sure.
So they're going to have to figure out how to change dispensaries to cannabis only pharmacies. But at that point, you're going to Amazon is already lobbying to be able to sell and deliver cannabis. So they're going to be a huge retailer that are going to take the wholesale market out and be, the Anheuser-Busch or whatever.
Oh, sure.
That's going to take a huge market share. So what's left is kind of the micro breweries or the mom and pop coffee shops. The people who can differentiate themselves through genetics or terpene profiles or whatever.
Yeah.
Word of mouth.
A boutique, right? Like it's gonna be craft or whatever. It's and I think that's kind of like the most American thing as far as like just giving everybody a chance. We I think had the luxury of like witnessing like real capitalism. Like no shit, like if you got good weed, you can sell it to a store, and then how many times were you at a a dispensary back in the day where some dude's walking in with like 2 bags of shit and then like puts it on a counter, you're like, oh man, how much is that gonna be? Like it was like watching the meat come in or something, depending on what your thing is. But like that was the coolest thing. And you don't have that no more because the way, and I guess like you don't get that normally anyways. Like you're not in like a QFC and you're just trying to like some guys bringing in the mangoes. They're already there when you show up,
QFC is Quality Food Centers. It's a grocery store, by the way, for people who have no idea what we're talking about.
Yeah, an Albertsons or a Kroger. There you go. Everybody knows Kroger. And again, another national brand, right? Like these stores, one day there's only be like one weed company that owns fucking everybody. Or 2. I mean, how many grocery store owners are there? There's only like 2, right?
I was going to ask you, is there a QFC? When was the last time you saw one? They were huge. No. And in Quality Food or what is it? PCC, which is a hippie store, and then Whole Foods,
like Trader Joe's.
Yeah, if you know what that is. And then Whole Foods came in and was bought by Amazon.
Okay, yeah. No, my wife works at QFC, so like it's owned by Kroger. Her paycheck says Kroger on it. So like, but I think that's the thing about business. Like sometimes they get too big, but weed's got a long way to get there. And once that happens, nobody's going to jail, and it's like fucking broccoli at that point.
I travel with it all over. I'm going to New York next week. I plan on bringing plenty with me because I know that's going to be overpriced and not very good.
I heard it was okay though. And the only reason why I heard it's okay because a lot of it's coming from California.
Well, I'm meeting up with a guy in Jersey, and we're gonna do a pot shop crawl in Manhattan.
Oh, nice.
I'm staying in Brooklyn. He's in Jersey. We're gonna meet up in Manhattan. We're gonna do a pot shop crawl. Check it out. So,
are you gonna spend down?
Say what?
Are you going to swing down to Jersey then too?
I want to, because I've never been to Jersey. But he said there's nothing in Jersey, so he wants to meet in Manhattan. So we'll
That's
see.
funny, dude.
But I'm gonna go to Philly too, because I got some friends in Pennsylvania, upstate somewhere, and so we're gonna meet in Pennsylvania, and hopefully I'll make it out of there.
And you go to South Street, like 30 years ago, that was the place to be. I don't know anymore, but like that was the punk rock place.
Yeah, I'm sure it doesn't even exist anymore.
Shit, dude. It's probably all coffee houses.
So switching gears, man, what's your crystal ball prediction for next year? We've got 16 different categories from 297 different allocated resources that we've got in here. So out of these 16 categories, man, is there anything in here or somewhere else where you think is going to take?
I mean, I'm really hoping the rescheduling does happen, right? Like you know, the HSA or they put out the DEA's, you know, opinion or whatever to the DEA about like, you know, enforcing and stuff. So I really do think some sort of federal legalization is bound to happen. How they do that tax structure or whatever case that happens next, and I really hope that's not what they're worried about. I hope they worry about, hey, let's just say this thing, you know, we don't have a cause anymore to like stop somebody. Like, you know, what's going to be the big one is the hemp, right? That might be a new coming out, the Hemp Act, that's the one we talked about 4 years ago when the CBD thing fucking happened. So that was when the Hemp Act. Then now again, the Hemp Act fucking keeps fucking dictating the market, at least what you're allowed to do, some sorts. So
yeah, I really don't think that's going to be impacting anything though, because all of those growers already got out. They realize there's not enough money. So even if it changes it and allows people to produce product, I think you've scared people already who aren't going to come back. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. We'll see.
I think they're going to be like doing like a generic like cannabinoid type thing, which, you know, could be a good sweeping, you know, another type of like rescheduling. Right. Where it's like now this plant, you know, because like what separates fucking hemp from marijuana? It's the same fucking plant, right? It's the 0.3%. Like who? It's a made up number. This is like fucking a unicorn. You know, it's still a fucking plant. Like when I plant a bunch of seeds out in the backyard. Check this bad boy out. I gave some seeds to John Kingsbury. This is like some Mexican weed. I had seeds for like 6 years. And he grew it, and it gives you like a mellow high. So like, and again, it's like it would probably qualify as hemp if I were to get it tested, just because it's so low quality fucking THC. It's not the best flower, but you know, any general person would just still call it weed, right? Unless I put it in the lab.
Most people have no idea the difference between a ruderalis or a sativa or an indica, but somebody else is going to see that one of them is a tree, one of them is a bush, and one of them is a weed. And there's fundamental differences between each cultivar within there. But for the most part, yeah. In college, I thought it was either shitty weed or good weed. I thought indica was the good weed because you got laid out on a couch and you couldn't move. But now I can't touch that, man. I just clam up and can't do nothing. But I do think that there's going to be a lot more products out there. Like we have a ton of SKUs in Washington. I think we're probably going to be having less. There's probably too many. It's overwhelming, but certain other states don't have enough. So they're going to need more products, more innovation, more automation. I thought what I saw on the floor at MJ Biz Con was still a lot of automation, but instead of more companies, there was just more models, and they're doing a lot more things. And so you don't have to sell the idea that you need to have this automation. Like people are like, yeah, where's it at? And they're finding it. And branding and everything is important, and investors are important.
But that more SKU thing, I think though a lot of it's dictated upon the state laws too, right? Like some of these states don't even have consumable flower laws. Like, just retarded fucking.
Well, we have a Class C felony on consumption lounges, man. But as soon as consumption lounges are a thing, you're going to see a lot more product innovation, because it was kind of lame at the new woo. Like I like the idea where the base is the the rec spot where you go and you buy the product. It kind of sucks that you have to. The only thing you get smoked there is what you buy. But it's dab. They've got a dab bar, and they've got this golf simulation. And then
Oh, neat.
outside, they have a barbecue and a dab bar and a cocktail bar. So it looks huge. It looks big, whatever.
Wow.
I think there could be a lot. It could be better. There could be a lot more innovation with
Oh, sure.
flower. You've seen like handheld dab devices and stuff, and commercial side,
Yes.
you've seen innovation for commercial spaces, but I don't feel like we've seen enough little gadgets and doodads. So
Oh,
hopefully
100%.
with lounges, we'll see more.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of like new tech, for lack of better word, coming that's going to be bound, right? Like, we're talking earlier, the lighter or just the new toker poker, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like that pipe lighter was pretty cool. So I don't think things might be stimulated in a sense, like you were saying, how one person with deep pockets will buy in other states, and only because they probably should already know what they're doing at that point, right? Like the MedMen, I think that was their biggest issue. Was they started really good, they had a lot of money, and then they just shit themselves, right? Like you were a store, you didn't have to be a grow. You could have because that's the thing about having like the store we're going to have. I really do hope to go to Illinois and check out some of these grows that are going to be my vendors, right? Like now I'm on the other side where I get to be the asshole that says you're welcome to our store or not. But like I'm not looking for that. I'm just looking to check out your processes, and we're all gonna. And I'm pretty sure I'm not gonna see any. I hope I don't see anything that's like ultra, like stagnant water sitting. Like I've heard horror stories from other producers, like on the East Coast, like Maine area, where these people are like we talk about mold to gold, and there's always a way to get around bullshit. But like for this plant to be like good weed, which I haven't had experience in Vegas, that was just all bad that I bought, dude. But like the real good weed is like something that's grown properly, like a good tomato or good, corn or whatever, soil, water, irrigation, and so the facilities look like shit. But like, oh man, I don't want to do business with these guys. But that's just, I'm looking forward to being on that side of things now. Even when I was fucking selling, dude, and I never knew where the weed came from. I was just like, hey, I got some fire or I don't.
Yeah, I knew mine either came from Alaska, BC, or Mexico, just based on the quality. But
that's exactly it.
Let's wrap this up with a couple of predictions from some guys from the Panther Group. They're an investment firm. So they deal with a lot of clients in a lot of different places. And so the founder and CEO, Jordan Tritt, said that, quote, in 2024, cannabis industry is poised for unprecedented growth, but success won't come to those who go it alone. So the mantra for the year is collaboration. Businesses must recognize that operating in separate entities won't cut it anymore. The key is to be stronger together, combining forces, pooling expertise, and forming strategic partnerships. Investors are increasingly looking for unity in the industry. A combined company of experts not only mitigates risk, but presents a compelling case for sustainable success. It's a year where teamwork isn't just an option, it's the winning strategy. Very similar to what you were already saying, right? Where companies have to kind of come together, or was that in my head for like co-ops, like a farm that they need to be like co-ops kind of come together and working with a team is better than an individual, in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
Everybody with matter experts and people who know their shit, who know what they're doing, who are aware. So the chief operating officer from the Panther Group, Michael Teller, he said, as we anticipate the long-awaited rescheduling and implementation of the safe banking practices, the cannabis industry is poised for a transformative year. The resilience displayed by robust companies over the past year positioned them as industry leaders, making an opportune time for fundraising initiatives. As we approach the critical 2024 election cycle, the imperative message of legislation, coupled with the potential ruling, sets the stage for unprecedented growth. So investors eager and prepared are ready to propel the cannabis sector into a new era of prosperity.
I think for you, because you're the financial side of things, and I think what you're going to see is just a lot of, like you were talking about, reorging, right? Like, I never was one of those guys. I was kind of like, why do people care about this kind of shit? Like, hey, there's a new vice president, there's a new board member, there's a new blah, blah, blahs. And then as now I have potential of like just being a part of that, I'm like, oh shit, now I get these people who like pays their fucking bills, and that's just money. That's all it comes down to. It's like the only reason like if someone's invested into a thing, you know, your only hope is to like see success, right? Like, you know, I never wanted like Trump to be a shitty president. I was like, that's like hoping for a shitty fucking pilot, right? Like you're like, let's just hope this guy gets through, whatever. And like, I don't know. I mean, I know for like the already richer was a good thing, right? And I was never already richer. So like, I'm like, I didn't, for my end, under $200,000, never saw any change in any of my finances, you know? Now with this other guy, there's a lot of infrastructure being invested in Biden. So there's a lot of things that trickle down to my level when it comes, I see like, you know, it's like when you drive in my commute, I drive from here to Redmond, and I see more fucking road construction. I see more like, you know, buildings and shit. And I'm just like, thanks fucking Biden. Fuck causing traffic, causing, you know what I'm saying? Like that, but that's good shit because people are paying their bills. Like I'm a worker bee. I've always been a worker bee. But now I gotta be on the other side soon if fucking Illinois will get out their ass. Like you know, social equity is definitely one of those things that people are being fucked on. Like they're being we call it like targeted or, you know, taken advantage of. And I just have the lucky experience of having a fucking lawyer as a fucking partner and a guy who used to work in banking, right? Like just knowing the finance side. So once that happens, I think we'll be a good team. I don't think it'll be a good thing. It's just the process fucking sucks. You know, it's not fast. And it's cool, like, you know, as soon as we got it, you're kind of like, it's like, okay, this is surreal. And then like as soon as you start like, oh shit, we need to come up with a plan. I need to figure out how to get $2 million because, like, you know, I'm not going to go fucking Navy Fed and apply for a $2 million loan for a business for a weed store. You know, and so I think like for the finance side, they're out there. There are people who are good people that can do that kind of thing and invest and make their money grow. I mean, that's what they want. And so, like, you know what? Surprise, that's what I want too. So let's do this together. You know, and. But that's the thing, though, is like that's business in general. Like if I wanted to own a restaurant, I'd be there every day for the ambiance and being like a host, you know, because you know what, the happier people come to my fucking place, the more money I get, the more time I get to spend in Mexico, you know, and yeah.
That's going to be the companies that are the stores that stick around. Are they going to be the ones that resonate with the people, right? I mean, it's all about branding your store and being relevant. There's 4 stores at Zips here in Washington, and all of them have different menus. You know, so they cater to their own. Even though there's one like that's 2 blocks away, they literally have different.
Interesting.
They won't have the same brand there.
Yeah,
they have different people who buy different stuff. So
that's good business.
You got to know your neighborhood for sure. I think that's going to make a huge difference as well. So I'll have to wait and see. All right, man. I think we should wrap this up. Miggy, where can people reach you at?
Cannabis Legalization News. That's the podcast, the YouTube channel, the website. And then if you just Google my name, you'll see all these articles I've written and my Twitters and all that shit too. So yeah, man, it's been fun. Good conversation, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah. We'll have to see if any of these things come true next year. I'm sure. I mean, they have in the last like 4. So
rescheduling. Yeah.
Well, it was fun. It was fun reminiscing about 2019, 5 years ago, and seeing that CBD did make its way, but a lot of those hemp farmers got burned and have created a shortage. If that bill does pass, those prices will go up because it'll create a higher demand, honestly. So just have to come back to the talking heads and find out. But all right, I think with that, we're going to roll this one up. So I want to thank my guest, Miggy. He is with Cannabis Legalization News and a soon-to-be retailer out in Illinois. So congratulations to that.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. I'm Josh Kincaid. This is The Talking Heads. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, or don't. And I'm out. With that, we're going to roll this one up. I'm Josh Kincaid. This is The Talking Heads. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, or don't. And I'm out. Don't forget to smash that like button on your way out and check out these other videos that we've got.
Thanks for listening to today's show. To check out more great cannabis podcasts, go to podconnects.com. Here's a preview of one of our other shows.
Hey friends, I'm Brannon.
And I'm Saba.
And we are your host of the Cannabis Hangout podcast, an educational platform to connect with the cannabis community and share personal stories while breaking the stigma of marijuana.
Join us every Sunday at 7 p.m. to gain valuable insight with different perspectives from industry leaders, growers, and medical marijuana patients.
This is a place to learn so much from different angles in the cannabis industry. So tune in while we break it all down.